We reserve a few minutes to discuss current trends you'd expect from reading Bible prophecy. We are futurists. That means we interpret unfulfilled prophetic passages as future events that are going to occur in a literal, physical, apocalyptic, global context. Biometrics, artificial intelligence, cashless commerce, the manipulation of human DNA, global government, the exponential growth of human knowledge, and the rebirth of the nation of Israel are end-time phenomena that the Bible predicts. All of these are increasingly trending in the news. Most of our recent talks have involved the global pandemic. COVID-19 is not prophetic, not in itself. However, the methods and mandates that are being utilized globally to combat it are predictive of the type of socio-economic system that will play a significant role in the future government of the Antichrist. Citizens in the future Great Tribulation will be mandated to participate in a system by which they must provide proof of compliance to be allowed to work, shop, dine, or attend entertainment. Their livelihood and lifestyle will be restricted without that proof. The same thing could be said today as governments continue to struggle with COVID-19 vaccine passports to prove you've been vaccinated in order to access certain services. A vaccine passport is a digital version of a vaccine card. It is a credential that states you have received your full round of COVID-19 shots. You present that credential to prove that you are vaccinated. France passed legislation adopting vaccine passports and their use. The article I read was titled, "French Face 6 Months in Jail for Entering a Bar or Restaurant Without a COVID Pass." I'll read you a couple of excerpts from the article. President Emmanuel Macron announced that those unable to prove they're vaccinated or a negative COVID test at their own cost will be banned from using public transportation, entering a cinema, shopping mall, bar, cafe, restaurant, and other venues starting August 1st. People unable to present a valid health pass risk up to 6 months in prison and a fine of up to $10,000, according to the draft text of the law. Owners of establishments welcoming the public who fail to check patrons' passes could go to jail for a year and be hit with a $45,000 fine. The government had to withdraw similar law back in December following numerous riots, but merely reintroducing the same legislation later worked. Commenting on France not providing free testing, one journalist noted, citizens abstaining from the injection will have to pay for a test each time they wish to go shopping, to a restaurant, or to a cafe. So you don't have to get the shot, but you can't really go out in public or do anything, and you're liable to be arrested and fined if you don't. Israel has been using vaccine passports for a while. In a recent article, Israeli government officials said that COVID-19 vaccine passports will expire 6 months after the second Pfizer dose, meaning that people will need to receive booster shots to keep their passes valid. In between services, somebody showed me an article that said they're up to 4 shots now that you have to prove in order. So it's perpetual. It's not going to end. Tom Tugendhat is a British Parliament member who serves as chairman of Foreign Affairs. He said, vaccine passports risk a social credit system of control. If we need a vaccine to go into events like a party or a conference or a nightclub, why not to travel by a train or go to a university lecture or a shop? What other choices will result in denial of service? Canadian Prime Minister Trudeau, in a recent speech, proclaimed what we have learned about COVID-19 can be applied to climate change. He means that government has learned it can control your behavior with mandates and can thereby implement their environmental agenda by forcing you to do or not do certain things. In an opinion piece, a journalist said, COVID passport mandates represent a turning point in human history. Countries around the world have gone full authoritarian with their measures on vaccine passports, lockdowns, and military interventions. By coercing, manipulating, and incentivizing individuals to show their papers everywhere they go, nations around the world are quickly becoming police states. Which brings us to Australia. According to Breitbart, and I quote, Australia is developing an app that uses facial recognition and geolocation data to track its citizens in part of the country's effort to control coronavirus. Citizens of Australia who have already experienced the harshest quarantine policies in the Western world will be required to download an app that lets the state text them at random times, giving them 15 minutes to respond with a picture of themselves with location data to prove they are following quarantine orders. If the data is off, or if they don't respond in time, they get a visit from the police. I never thought we'd actually see stuff like this in my lifetime. It's an incredible precursor to what you read about in the Bible. We're not in the Great Tribulation. COVID isn't the mark of the beast. Vaccines, you know, every week I try and remember to say that no one here cares if you get a vaccine or don't get a vaccine. Those are personal medical choices, and I think you know I'm not, able to give medical advice. I've never even stayed at a Holiday Inn, or anything like that. So I'm not giving medical advice. This shouldn't be construed as you not getting a vaccine or you getting a vaccine. You might want to think twice if you go to France or Australia on vacation, that kind of thing. But it is so much like the system of social control and social credit that you read about in Revelation chapter 13. It's just incredible. We, of course, believe the resurrection and the rapture of the church is imminent. When Nick was praying this morning, I thought it was going to happen. It was so exciting. But it could happen at any moment. Nothing needs to happen before it happens, and it's going to happen before the Great Tribulation. We're not going to find ourselves in that period of time. Not to say we couldn't be headed into tough times. I think you can kind of predict that later on this year in this great golden state, there are going to be some new mandates and some new rules, and it wouldn't surprise me if our governor said that we have to check you for passports and stuff like that. It's not going to be easy, but we're going to endure. In the meantime, are you ready for the rapture? If not, right? Well, all right, let's just end it there today. Now, cue the announcement.